The cooling off period is now in effect here in BC. But what does that mean for you buying and selling real estate? Well, today we're going to dive into what this rescission period is all about, the purchases and sales that it will affect, and the specifics and unique situations that you need to know about. So let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Adam Popine, a realtor here in Kamloops, BC. Welcome back to our channel where we talk all things real estate, buying, selling, and what it's like to live in this beautiful city. Today we're going to talk about the Home Buyers Rescission Period, also known as the cooling off period, which takes effect at the start of 2023. This legislation provides buyers with an opportunity to rescind their offer on a residential purchase within 3 business days of their offer being accepted. If the buyer chooses to rescind their offer, they will owe the seller 0.25% of the purchase price. To put that in context, it's $250 for every $100,000 of purchase price. This applies to all purchases in BC, whether a realtor is involved or if it's a private sale, and it cannot be waived by the buyers or the sellers. Certain property types are exempt from the HBRP. Those include residential properties on leased land, court-ordered sales, like foreclosures, new construction and pre-sales, because those already have their own rescission rights, and manufactured homes on lease pads, such as mobile home parks. The rescission period also does not apply to commercial real estate transactions, like buying an industrial property or apartment complex, for example. Alright, so let's dive into some of the key questions that you need to know about. First up, does the buyer need to give a reason to rescind within that first 3 days? The answer is no. The buyer can rescind at any time and for any reason within the 3-day period. Once that decision is made, the buyer must give the seller written notice, which triggers the rescission fee. It's important to keep in mind though that a buyer can still walk away from a purchase without having to pay the rescission fee if they are unable to satisfy the conditions of their offer. So for example, you write an offer on a home and you cannot get financing, or you do a home inspection and you find something that you don't like, you will not have to pay the rescission fee. The fee only applies when the buyer invokes their right of rescission in a subject-free offer situation or for a reason that's outside of their subject conditions. Next up, how are the 3 business days calculated? The business days are calculated between Monday and Friday, excluding weekends and holidays. The rescission period also requires 3 full days. So for example, if an offer is received on Monday afternoon, the buyers would have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday up to 11:59 p.m. to rescind their offer. As a buyer, your subject removal runs at the same time as the rescission period. If a backup offer is accepted, those buyers also get a 3-day rescission period, which starts at the time the backup offer is accepted, not 3 days after the first offer collapses. It's also important to know how the rescission fee is paid. Typically, it comes from the deposit, which the buyer has submitted to the brokerage as part of their offer. And in the case of a rescission, the seller is automatically paid by the brokerage on behalf of the buyer, and the remainder goes back to the buyer. So you might be wondering, what happens if the buyer walks away before submitting a deposit? Or what happens in a private sale situation? Ultimately, the buyer is still legally obligated to pay the rescission fee to the seller. And if they do not, the seller will unfortunately have to seek legal advice on how to recover those funds. Because the legislation lacks a direct way to enforce the rescission fee without involving lawyers, I wouldn't be too surprised if specific language was added to future contracts that would require the deposit to be paid at the time of acceptance or shortly thereafter to protect the sellers. Regardless, the buyers should at least start preparing themselves to pay the rescission fee if they invoke their right to rescind. As the new year starts and the Home Buyers Rescission Period is tested in the BC market, we'll be sure to keep you updated. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click on the subscribe button below to get more real estate tips. And if you're looking to buy or sell in Kamloops and the surrounding areas, you can also book a call or a meeting with me by clicking on the link in the description box below.